big event down on the track was the RAC TT, featuring a grid of classic cars worth almost £100 million. And one of my very best mates who's almost worth as much. So a hop and a skip to the grid for a taste of his own medicine was definitely the thing to do.
The man I'm really after is my ex-commentary box colleague, Martin Brundle, and he's in the Ferrari GTO. Here he is. And as usual, he's getting some last-minute instructions. Martin, the boot is on the other Schumacher this time, because I'm trying to be Martin Brundle doing the grid ball, which you do so brilliantly. Listen, my friend, you've got a whole swash of Cobras in front of you. You're the leading non-Cobra car in the Ferrari GTO. How do you feel about things?
It's so unbelievably slippery out there, Marrington. Even just following Sterling round to the start line, you can't imagine how little grip there is, because obviously all the oil and rubber of the weekend, and now just a little sprinkling of water, so I'm pretty terrified.
Good luck.
A lovely bit of role reversal for Murray and Martin, but Kenny Brack starts from pole position for the RAC TT Celebration race, but Ludovic Caron, who should be in the middle of the front row, has not made it round this formation lap. Martin Brundle starts from the third row in his Ferrari as we get ready for the start, and away we go. And although the clouds overhead, it's not raining at the moment, there's a lot of dampness on the circuit. Look at Jochen Mass getting very sideways, and Kenny Brack as well, trying to get the power down as he accelerates away.
Well, the Daytona Cobra Coupe has gone clearly into the lead, pursued by the Roadster Cobra, and this is Martin Brundle, still a great racer at heart, pushing very hard on Jochen Mass's Cobra as he goes up the gears.
And into second place straight away, so Martin Brundle is on a charge, but just look at these conditions, not easy at all in these big, powerful rear-wheel drive machines. There's Nicolas Minassia in the Ferrari that's known as the breadvan Ferrari, and you can see why.
£100 million worth of motor cars on this grid. That's a cautious estimate. They're incredibly valuable, but they're being driven absolutely on the limit by their celebrity drivers.
Eddie Cheever is in the number 98 Cobra, that's part of that pack as well, but Kenny Brack already making a little bit of a leap out front. And we're looking at Chris Baton in the dark green, the British Racing Green Tiger there. He's right in the mix with Eddie Cheever, who gets a bit sideways in the Cobra.
Anthony Reid, disaster at the start. Ludovic brings the Cobra in from the front row with a misfire.
Hugely disappointing. The car had gone so well in qualifying both Friday and Saturday. Yesterday, we broke the track record for the TT by doing a 24.9, 1 minute 24.9. The car was superb, and we had high expectations for this race, so hugely disappointing.
Now, Chris Baton in that Sunbeam Lister Tiger, he's coming under some threat from Derek Hill in the brilliant little Maserati Tipo 151. Derek is up the inside there, and I think he's going to be through. Yeah, lovely move that from Derek, who we've seen racing in Europe in Formula 3000 in the past, son of Phil Hill, former world champion. He's loving this.
That Maserati is a fascinating motor car. It's very small in overall dimensions, but it has a great big 4.5-litre 4-cam V8. And the drivers say it's like putting an engine on like a pair of trousers. There's almost no room inside the cockpit at all.
Well, Jackie Oliver's Cobra is behind as well, so he's going to be a part of this mix. But you have to say Derek Hill could be putting some threat on Eddie Cheever, two American racers going hard at it here. Cobra versus Maserati as they come down the straight towards Woodcote, and he's going around the outside this time. Can he outbrake and still get in front? Well, Cheever's not having that. He says, you're not going to have it that easy, and I'm going to stay here with the Cobra. Oh, they're still side by side. Great stuff. But now Cheever has the line.
Now, the interesting thing is that this track is very wet and slippery. There are a few standing puddles, but almost everywhere there is spray coming up from these wheels. It's very, very slippery as Kenny Brack takes the lead with a wonderful start in the Daytona.
Look at him sliding that car. I mean, he's an Indy 500 winner. He's an IRL champion. But I tell you what, that deftness of touch, that car control, well, the Scandinavians are brought up with it, aren't they? But I tell you what, Martin Brundle's not too bad in second.
Yeah, Martin Brundle, a tremendous trooper. Look how black the sky is. We're going to have some more rain, I think, as from lock to lock goes Martin Brundle in Nick Mason's Ferrari. That's worth about 14 million quid, that car, but Brundle is pushing it hard.
Jochen Mass leads this little group in the Cobra. Chris Baton still going brilliantly well, though, in the Tiger, the number 8 car, isn't he?
Yes, Baton, much less experience than the drivers around him, but he's really pushing the 4.7-litre Sunbeam against the 4.7-litre Cobras.
Yeah, and he's trying to go around the outside there of Eddie Cheever. It doesn't happen. Just ahead of him in the Ferrari is Nicolas Minassian, works Peugeot driver as his day job, but he is getting to grips with this Ferrari as Cheever, though, goes around the outside, and I think he's outbraked him. Has he got the car turned in? Yes, he has, and Chris Baton's trying to follow, but he can't quite do it.
Well, in theory, at least, the Ferrari handles better than the Cobras, although it has less horsepower, but that Sunbeam's gone through on the inside.
That was fantastic, and Nicolas Minassian just saw him in the nick of time. I don't know how he did out those tiny little mirrors, mind you, and we're on board with Kenny Brack, and he's already lapping some of these slower cars, and just look at the way that he's driving this car.
Yeah, this gives you an indication of just how slippery it is. These cars have a lot of horsepower, a lot of torque, and get much more primitive suspension than Kenny Brack would be used to in the modern cars that he's raced more recently. But he's getting the power onto this slippery circuit.
So Mass, Eddie Cheever and Chris Baton, as you say, very, very tricky conditions here, but so far so good. And Chris Baton gets down the inside there and gets past Jochen Mass, another famous scalp collected by Chris Baton. He must be loving racing in such exalted company, and he's doing a fine job of it down into St Mary's, and those clouds are looking particularly threatening now. So perhaps we're going to see some more rain here, and Chris gets it a bit sideways. Oh, he's lost it. Oh, he's lost it right in front of Cheever and all the rest. What a shame.
Well, he's managed to get it pointing in the right direction once more. No damage to the car, although he's well off on the grass. But as he came into the left-hander of St Mary's, he locked up his rear wheels. The car got away from him. Everybody managed to avoid him once more, so he races on.
Well, Martin Brundle's still trying pretty hard, and he's having to defend his position. His second place, this is, from Derek Hill. You're on board with Martin, and the rain definitely coming down a bit harder, I think. Slides it out of the chicane, working hard, and Martin Brundle loving this, as is his big mate Murray, watching on the sideline.
Kenny Brack is leading in the Cobra, and Martin Brundle has come up from 6th on the grid in the Ferrari to 2nd place. And I bet you he's driving a tactical race.
We're just over halfway through the RAC TT Celebration race, and up front Kenny Brack leads. Martin Brundle is defending 2nd place from Derek Hill, but it's getting wetter every moment.
And remember, this is a 2-driver race. All of these cars must make a mandatory pit stop and hand over to their co-driver.
Derek Hill going alongside Martin Brundle, and just look as the rain falls. Derek Hill doesn't seem to be fazed by it at all. That's a lovely piece of driving.
Yeah, they went either side of the back marker, the slower Aston Zagato just then.
These two great Italian makes, Maserati versus Ferrari, and Martin Brundle doing his utmost to stay on terms with the Maserati, but he just can't quite do it. Now there is your race leader. Kenny Brack has been stunning in these conditions.
Now he'll look across to his pit signals to see whether his crew want him to come in and hand over to Tom Christensen. He's going to have to do it in a lap or two.
What a noise from inside the cockpit of this Shelby American Cobra Daytona Coupe. One of how many, Simon, are still there round?
They made 6 and they're all priceless.
You wouldn't believe it, the way he's driving it. Look at it. It's all over the place, but beautifully under control. Now there's Cheever, who is ahead of Jochen Mass in their Cobras, and Nicolas Minassian wondered if he was coming in, but no, he stays out for a little bit longer.
Yes, all the pit signals are coming out now. The pit lane is about to get very crowded indeed. It's wetter on one side of the circuit than it is on the other, which makes it doubly treacherous for the drivers.
So the Cobras rumble their way into Matchwick Corner, and Eddie Cheever still controlling it beautifully. All that horsepower. It's a delicate task when it gets as slippery as this, and Nicolas Minassian up the inside there of Jochen Mass, and I think he's through pretty safely and securely. So Minassian, he'll be handing over in a few moments' time. We are going to see those pit stops any second now. Remember, Kenny, there we are. Now, that's interesting. That is Gary Pearson taking over from Jackie Oliver.
Yes, Jackie Oliver's handed over to Gary Pearson. They've made their pit stop comparatively early. Gary Pearson, of course, hugely polished on this circuit.
Kenny Brack continues round. Now, is he going to hand over to Tom Christensen yet, or is he going to stay out for a little bit longer? Those windscreen wipers are just about clearing the screen enough. If he comes in this time, no, he's going to stay out a little bit longer, and Tom's going to have to wait his turn.
Well, it's raining very, very hard here at the start-finish line. There is Tom Christensen, the multiple Le Mans winner, waiting his turn in the leading Daytona Cobra, and still the battle's going on all the way down the field.
Yeah, Chiva just about fending off Nicolas Minassian. The Cobra versus the Ferrari, really the tale of the 1960s sports car racing, wasn't it? Nicolas Minassian trying to squeeze up the inside. Can he do it this time? I think he might. Oh, there's just a little bit of a touch. Amazing how hard these guys race these cars.
Well, that Ferrari breadvan, not the most beautiful of Maranello's products, but very, very quick indeed. Here's the leading Cobra in the pits at last.
So Kenny Brack to hand over to Tom Christensen. The Swedish driver handing over to the Dane. Christensen came to Goodwood for the first time last year, and he loved it so much I don't think we'll ever keep him away now. Oh, and off does David Hart, has gone off in the number 14 Ferrari. I don't think there's any damage, maybe just a mechanical issue. But away now goes Tom Christensen.
Yes, and he's waved on his way, clapped on his way by Kenny Brack, and we can hear from Kenny now.
Kenny Brack, fantastic first stint in the RAC TT. How was it out there?
It was very difficult conditions, you know, wet, dry, and it's quite a handful to drive this car, but it's quick, but a lot of fun.
You made a great start and pulled out a good lead.
Yeah, it was, we did a good start. I just used no wheel spin, very, very little, gentle, and it seemed to work.
And it still seems to be working because Tom Christensen is in control of this race by the looks of things, as everyone else battles behind. He's on his way now. This was a moment ago. Nicolas Minassian and Eddie Chiva, who've been fighting. Oh, there was a little bit of contact between them. The Ferrari got sideways, and that was just before the pit stops took place. Eddie Chiva has now handed over to Kevin Kiflocken.
Eddie Chiva, you look like you were trying pretty hard out there.
Yes, it's impossible to drive a Cobra and not try hard. They're hard sitting in the pits. When it started to rain, I could not find the windshield wiper, and at the end I had to come in. But it was a pity, but the car was great. I had a great time. I always have a marvelous time when I'm here.
All the driver swaps completed now. The Maserati's changeover with that tiny cockpit took too long. So back in second place is Mark Hales in the Ferrari started by Martin Brundle.
Martin Brundle, fantastic drive in the GTO up to second place in terrible conditions.
Yeah, it's obviously the first time I've ever driven that car in damn conditions, so I was a bit nervous of it, but others seemed even more nervous, so I just went for it around the outside of the first corner, and it stuck, and I was really enjoying it. But when it really started to rain hard, it was a whole new adventure.
Mark Hales has that adventure now, and it's getting even wetter. But Derek Hill, who was in the Maserati, he had a fantastic time himself.
Derek Hill, wow, what an opening stint by you in the Maserati. You made up a lot of places.
Yeah, it was just... the Maserati was really putting the power down well, and you know, everyone was sort of searching for grip out there. I had a great time.
Tom Christensen continues to lead this race. He's maintained the advantage, really, Simon, that Kenny handed to him, but look at the way he's driving it now.
Yes, the track is now completely waterlogged. It's absolutely awash, and Tom Christensen's handling of this car is quite fantastic.
It's truly a joy to watch. Now, what's been going on through the chicane? Let's take a little look. It's the number 16 Ferrari got into a bit of trouble. That was Max Werner, son of the car owner. Nearly had to explain things to Dad, but fortunately got away with it. Meanwhile, Tom Christensen just getting past Joe Bamford as he comes through the chicane, and just listen to that. The checker flag awaits him, though, and he's going to take victory in the RAC TT Celebration. What a bit of teamwork that was between himself and Kenny Brack. They have earned a massive victory, a long way back to the second place car of Mark Hales and Martin Brundle, and the two Scandinavian drivers supreme in the most difficult of conditions. So let's confirm the result. Brack and Christensen the winners in the Cobra Daytona Coupe, Brundle and Hales second in their beautiful Ferrari, and the Colasaco Hill Maserati.